All right, we are about to start our first project, which is going to be a scavenger hunt of images. So first things first, you are going to download the Word document that's attached to this assignment, right? So let's take a look at that Word document because that's basically what the assignment is. So here it is, Digital Photography Scavenger Hunt. So you notice I put the note here, take at least 3 shots of each description. I think I might update that before I upload this. It might say 10 shots of each description. I want you to take lots of pictures. You'll get that as I show you in my other video clips. Lots of pictures is good. Okay, so let's take a look at the different categories because what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be shooting on automatic. So when you have your camera, right, you're gonna be looking at the dial right here. So I have a Canon right here. So for the Canon, it's gonna be the green A. If you have the Kodak, it's gonna be that red camera. So you're gonna be shooting with automatic because we haven't got into how to adjust all the settings yet. So you're not gonna be playing with these settings. You're gonna be shooting on automatic. If you have the Canon, I want you to put it on autofocus. If you have the Kodak, it should automatically be on autofocus. It shouldn't be on manual focus, all right? So you're gonna be on fully automatic when you do this. What you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be thinking about the principles. We've already played around with the principles a little bit. And so we're gonna be pairing the principles with some other ideas. Sometimes it's elements, sometimes it's just other things around. So let's take a look. So the first one is pattern of light, right? So you're gonna be looking for pattern, but out of light. Then you're gonna make a composition of line. So you're gonna be playing around with line. I show you that and you'll see in a little bit about what that might look like. Movement. Now remember, movement has more than one meaning. It can mean actually showing someone in movement, or it's using linear elements or elements within the image to move the viewer's eye through the image. So that's another important thing to think about. It's not just one. Balance with shapes. Remember, balance can be asymmetrical or it can be symmetrical. An object letter, right? So looking at objects that might create a letter, right? This is kind of a fun one. People do this all the time. They have like full alphabets. Okay, organic rhythm and man-made rhythm. Now, organic means something that you find out in nature. So that might be leaves, trees, flowers. It's something that's growing, right? Natural. Man-made means that it's man-made, so it's something that's man-made. And I do a demonstration of the man-made one, so you'll see what I use for man-made rhythm, right? Then we have landscape to show space. So that's key, that you're gonna be doing a landscape, and I want it to have that idea of deep space, okay? Close-up of the texture. So we're gonna kind of, you got the close-up going, but I want you to be focusing on texture. So you've been looking for some extreme textures there. And then contrasting color. So we're gonna deal with contrast, but we're gonna use it in a very concrete way and thinking about color. So you're gonna be thinking about color and how do you get colors to contrast in a photo, okay? All right, so those are your different categories. So each of these categories, you're gonna be going out and you're gonna be taking pictures that fit for that prompt. So you might take 10 pictures, you may take 20 pictures, you might even take 30 pictures. I don't know. Have a blast. The more you take, the better. You're gonna hear me talk about it more later. As you're taking these pictures, you're gonna be taking notes. And this is important because one of the standards that you're getting measured on for this project is paying attention to process and documenting process. And so that's why we're taking notes. So as you take your pictures, whatever your picture might be, so if pattern of light, you went and took pictures of the light coming through the window, or maybe you went out and took pictures of light coming through a tree, whatever it was, you take those notes as you're doing it. And it can either be that you printed out this document and you're taking notes on it, or you have a notebook and you're taking notes in your notebook. It doesn't matter as long as you have that structure there. Then the last column on the right side of this document, the chosen shot, is when you're all said and done, you've uploaded the image, you'll see that at the end of this video, that you're gonna be picking individual images and then you're gonna put whatever number the image was that you settled in on, like this was the one I liked, you're gonna put that right there. So that's all part of your process and documenting your process, okay? So it's important that you have all that done. Now, so we now know what the categories are. We know how we're gonna have the settings on our camera. We know that we're taking notes on the whole process. Let's move on to what does it actually look like when you're taking these pictures, all right? So I'm gonna take you around and show you how I tackled 2 different categories, how I tackled the man-made rhythm and how I did the composition of lines, all right?
One of your options for taking the pictures for this project is to actually create an environment or a still life to take a picture of, rather than using a found environment. So for this one, I wanted to simplify my background, and that's something to think about when you're setting up your image, is what's going on around what you're taking a picture of, because that influences the picture. So I decided I wanted to simplify the background. So I put down a poster board and I have that little, the whiteboard in the back, to kind of simplify my background. I'm also using directional lighting. You may not have a light at home that has a hood, but if you do have like a little clamp light or something like that that's got a little hood, it gives you directional lighting, which can be great for, it's an interesting light for still lifes. You could also set up a table right by a window and use the light coming in from the window to give you some interesting cast shadows. You're gonna kind of have to depend on what your situation is, how you're gonna set this up. I'm going to be using this setup for man-made rhythm. Now remember, rhythm is an element that is repeated within an image, right? It creates a sense of rhythm. So it's not quite pattern. Pattern is predictable, and it's a little more specific than unity, which is just having something that unifies the whole image, right? So this could be unity, but it also is rhythm, all right? So when you are taking pictures for each of these things, you're gonna take a bunch of pictures for that one thing, but you're gonna be narrowing it down to one when you're done. Any good photographer will tell you, take lots and lots of pictures and then dump the ones that aren't gonna be good. It's always better to have too many pictures that you then get to sort through than to not have gotten the right shot, right? So I'm gonna turn on my camera. We've got it on automatic setting. And so I'm gonna try different positions, different focal points. So I'm gonna kind of get in here, maybe go over top, do that, get down low, do that. Maybe try a slightly different angle. Maybe I'm not going to take all of them. Maybe it's actually going to come in and out of the frame. So I'm not necessarily going to keep all of those images, right? I took a bunch. I will upload them later and see which ones I want to keep. You don't need to set up a still life to take these pictures. You can just use found environment, right? Just walking around, looking around wherever you exist and look for the prompts in the environment you're in, right? So one of our prompts is composition of lines. Now, when I'm in the art room and I look around and, for instance, I look up in the ceiling, it's nothing but lines, right? With all the different girders and the way that our metal ceiling works, I've got lines everywhere. So I'm gonna try and get a few shots of the ceiling and see if that's gonna work for my composition. So I can do that from just where I'm at, right? I'm using automatic settings. I can get my camera going and start taking shots just from where I am and trying to find interesting compositions of line that way. But maybe I need to change my perspective. Grab a chair, get myself a little bit higher. This room is full of lines, right? So I just took pictures of the ceiling, but when I turn around, I've got blinds, I've got the grate in the floor, I've got shelving over here. All of these are lines, right, that I could perhaps create a composition out of. I just have to get creative at how I shoot it. So if I'm looking at the blinds, I can change my focal point by bringing it closer and further away. I can change portrait from landscape. I can actually change my point of view by actually getting down on the ground. And I can take pictures like this, play around with my focus, switch the thing I'm taking pictures of. Once again, constantly moving around, playing around, taking as much as I can, knowing that I'm gonna go back and sort through, right? So for each one of these prompts, you might take 20 pictures. That would be a lot, but maybe you do. What you're not going to be doing is taking one for each prompt, right? The more pictures you have to choose from, the more likely you are to get that one shot that's perfect for that prompt, okay? So all about different situations, different angles, different focus, play around with that, right? Don't give up after one. Give me at least 10 per prompt. You're going to narrow it down when you're done.
All right, so at this point, you have taken all the pictures you need for this assignment and you are ready to upload them. So you're gonna have your camera, you're gonna have your USB cord, the mini USB goes into the camera, the other part hooks right into your laptop. You're gonna turn on your camera. You get the little chime, it'll open up. Now, before you go anywhere with uploading images, please make sure that you have a digital photography folder on your hard drive in your laptop. It can be part of your OneDrive. And inside of that, make sure that you have a Scavenger Hunt folder like I have right there, all right? So I'm set to go, and I have what I need in my folder, so I have a place to put my pictures. So I'm gonna go back to the SD card on my camera. I'm gonna go into DCIM. I'm gonna go into this folder because that's where I know where I have all my images. And I'm going to find the ones I just took for this assignment. So I'm gonna be looking for those bottle pictures. Yep, there's the first one. So I'm gonna click on the first one, and I'm gonna go all the way down to the last one. I'm going to hold shift down and click. That's going to select all the images that I need. Then I click, drag. I'm going to hover right over top of my digital photography folder, and then drop them into the Scavenger Hunt folder. Then they're going to start to upload. So you are not going to be keeping all of these images. You're going to be sorting through, you're going to find out the ones that you really like, and you're going to trash the rest pretty much, okay? You might decide to keep a few extras if you really like them, but you're only turning in one for each category. So ultimately you'll end up with 10 images that you're going to name per category, all right? So now all those images are uploaded. I'm going to go into my digital photography folder, and I'm going to go into my Scavenger Hunt folder where I just put them all. I'm going to make this big so I can see all of them. All right. And here they all are. So now I have to start sifting through these photographs and figuring out which one I want to keep in the folder. Then what you're going to do is you're going to open them up with the viewer. So I'm going to double click on that first one, and it's going to pop up in the viewer, and I'm going to be able to decide what images I like and what I don't. So here's the first one. That one's okay. Not too bad. Don't like that one at all. So if you don't like one, you can go up here and you can click on the trash can, and it's going to ask you if you want to delete. I delete. It's going to take it out. So you can do it one at a time that way by pulling them out. Or I'm going to make this go away. I can look at the whole schema. So if I've gone through all of them and I kind of know where the ones I want and where the ones I want, so I know I don't want any of these last ones. So I can highlight the whole group of them, and then I can just delete them all at once. Once I have them picked out, this is what it looks like. All right, so you have now gone through and named all your files. So I've kind of cleared out my files so you only see the ones that I did for my examples, right? You are not going to have 2, you're going to have 10 images. You're going to have 10 images named based on the categories, right? So after you have those 10 images, those 10 images are going to be uploaded to the project assignment in Teams, right? There's going to be 2 kinds of grades happening during this project. Because this project is over multiple days. You're going to have your daily process where you're going to upload whatever it was that you did that day. So maybe you took 20 or 30 pictures for one category that day. You're just going to upload some examples of that. It doesn't have to be all those images, but you're going to give me some examples of what you're taking pictures of, right? But at the end of this, you're going to have the project assignment, which is a separate thing that's going to be due at the end. Now that's going to have the 10 image files named correctly. It's going to have your note paper uploaded. And then it's going to have this other piece called an artist statement. Now, I'm not going to get into explaining the artist statement in this video. I'm going to do a separate lesson on that during the week that we're working on this project. And so I will upload that, and you'll be able to see what it is I'm talking about, because we'll do a separate lesson for creating that artist statement. But that's also going to be part of your final project grade. So all of those files are going to be loaded onto the project assignment. And then when you're all done with that, that project assignment gets turned in and gets a grade. Okay. So that's different than the daily process. We're still going to have daily process grades. Those daily process grades are going to happen the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday of the week we're working on this project. So you are still uploading stuff to the daily process. It's just going to be whatever it is you did that day. So whether you took 10 images, 30 images, whatever, you're going to give me a sampling of what you were doing that day and upload it. All right. Okay, so here we go. Grab your camera, grab your Microsoft Word document that has the different categories on it, however you want to keep track of that, and go out and take pictures.